Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon have been together for 12 years, experiencing many obstacles and struggles to bring justice throughout the Republic. Their relationship is strong, and their abilities working together are hard to match within the Jedi Order. Qui-Gon's wisdom and trust of the Force, and Obi-Wan's athleticism and sharp mind help them to take on just about any task they face. Dealing with diplomatic tyrants on planets such as Bendomir and Junction 5, fighting off ruthless bounty hunters and crime lords, and most dangerous of all, Force-sensitive users who had no interest in bringing balance to the Force. These users were not Jedi and did not have the connection in order to control the power. It was more spontaneous and mainly made the user more aware of his surroundings. But that does not mean that these users were not dangerous. They were cunning and ruthless, usually having many followers with the same drive for power. The last user they faced was Dr. Leon Bulgaire. Dr. Bulgaire was a mad scientist who wanted to explore the nature of the Force, trying to unlock its hidden power. He was Force sensitive, just not on any scale to where he could wield it for his own purpose. This he wanted to change. He was able to capture Qui-Gon Jinn while Qui-Gon was on a solo mission. Obi-Wan, with the assistance of Master Adigalia, was able to rescue Qui-Gon, and together they were able to capture the Doctor and free his other subjects. Obi-Wan could not help but wonder if another Force-sensitive being was at work in the Naboo system. He sat in the corner of a small chamber room within the transport taking them to Naboo, with all light cut off. His eyes were closed as he searched and listened for the Force. Qui-Gon had always told him to be mindful of the living Force, that it was constantly at work and on the move. Obi-Wan was searching around him and out towards Naboo. He could sense the fear and confusion on the planet, but nothing else. Not a disturbance such as an evil Force user like he imagined. He focused deep within, pushing aside his thoughts and assumptions. No longer searching, but waiting. He was unclear of how long he sat there, but Obi-Wan knew he was engaging the Force. The only possible way to describe the way he felt would be at peace. Suddenly, he stood upon a land of a desert planet, covered in sand and rock. The sky had grown dark, and the air was cold. Fear crept into his mind, cutting straight to his bones. He tried to speak, but no air could escape him. He began to panic, fear taking over him. Then a small light emerged from the west and caught his gaze. It was not a sun, nor the setting moon, but seemed to stand on the horizon. Obi-Wan, drawn by the light, slowly reached out his hand, and as his hand crossed over the light burst forth, covering the land and knocking Obi-Wan from his feet. The shock awoke him from his trance, and he saw the light reflecting from the beautiful planet of Naboo. The fear had left him, but confusion had taken its place. Looking around, he waved his hand, turning on the lights, and stood up. He rubbed his face to calm himself, and wondered at what just took place. Obi-Wan was not sure what he saw, what it meant or represented. The captain's voice suddenly echoed from the intercom.
Master Jedi, we are in the orbit of the planet and approaching a Federation ship.
Obi-Wan knew that his dream would have to wait and headed for the cockpit. Qui-Gon was already there, standing behind the captain. Have you told them that we request to board at once? I have, Master Qui-Gon, but it doesn't seem like it is getting through. Master Obi-Wan, can you check the transmission receptor there? Obi-Wan checked the reading on the screen on the back wall. It seems to be working fine. I'm not getting any negative feeds or any sign of interference. We are clearly in range for our transmission, but it keeps coming back to me as if it was denied. Perhaps the Federation ship is having difficulties. The pilot had gotten out of her seat and began to mess with connections below the steering. Captain, Qui-Gon said, we should not get too close without making contact. There's no problem under here. Everything seems connected as it should be. Captain, Qui-Gon's tone was more urgent. "We cannot get any closer without making contact. We know this is some sort of blockade, and that the Federation is already not pleased with the situation." Suddenly, a droid came on the communication screen and said,
"Warning, unidentified aircraft. This ship is of the Trade Federation, and if you do not leave immediately, you shall be fired upon, being charged with attempt of piracy."
Bantha fodder! Sit down, Master Jedi. We are getting out of here.
The pilot leaped back into her chair and began to turn the ship around, but before Obi-Wan was able to get his belt secured, the ship was attacked. Hold on. We just lost our starboard engine. I'm making for the planet's surface." Qui-Gon grabbed his Padawan and hoisted him in his chair. Obi-Wan strapped himself in just before another large blast hit the ship, shaking it and sending it out of control. All systems were flashing red, and the captain switched the emergency power towards the shields. The Federation ship continued to unload impressive firepower on their ship, and Obi-Wan hated the fact that he was absolutely helpless in the situation. He closed his eyes, trying not to panic. The ship swirled into the atmosphere, igniting what remained into flames. The blazing ship ripped through the top of the trees and smashed head-on with the trunk of a very large tree. The ship shattered and sent Obi-Wan flying while still attached to his chair. The back of the chair hit the ground first, and he rolled around a few times till it was stopped by another tree. He sat there motionless, still strapped into his chair.